Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Charter Township of Van Buren Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. This time I'm calling meeting to order. We all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, with that, roll call, please.
Budd. Bernie Grant. Peter Creel.
Here.
Medina Atkinson is excused. Jackson Paul. Jeff Jar. Brian Cullen.
Here. Well, we have a quorum. So before us, we have an agenda. Do I have any action concerning the agenda?
Through the chair. I move to approve the agenda as presented for tonight.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the agenda as presented. Although, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Moving ahead, minutes. We also have in your packet tonight the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of March 25th, 2026. Do we have any action concerning that?
Through the chair, I make a motion we approve the minutes from the regular meeting of March 25th, 2026 as presented.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the minutes of March 25th, 2026 as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Correspondence and announcements. First up, the City of Belleville and Sumter Township have upcoming Planning Commission meetings scheduled for April 9th, 2026, which would be tomorrow night. Do we have any other correspondence to pass along tonight?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any additional correspondence. Any correspondence in your packet is related to the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. General public comment. At this time, we open the floor to the public for any comments concerning any item that is not listed on the agenda. If you so desire, please step up to the podium and speak into the microphone, identifying yourself and address for us, please. Is there anybody that wishes to have a comment? Anybody for comment? Okay, seeing none, moving ahead. We have two public hearings tonight. Item number one, 25025, L Car Wash and Commercial Development, Special Land Use Request. A request by L Car Wash, Michigan, Belleville LLC, to construct a 4,640 square foot facility to provide express automatic exterior automobile wash services and self-serving vacuuming, along with a 5,667 square foot building comprising of one retail and two restaurant tenant spaces, including one offering drive-through service. This site is located at address 10525 Belleville Road, 10501 Belleville Road, and 10401 Belleville Road, on the east side of Belleville Road, south of Westlake Apartments. At this time, I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I move to open the public hearing.
We have a motion and support to open the public hearing. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? With that, anybody from the audience? At this time, you have the opportunity to come forward and speak to us. Please step up to the podium and announce your name and address. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item?
Good evening. I'm Mike Solomon. I've I live at 50715 West Hanover Drive in Belleville, or Van Buren now. I'm the co-owner and builder of Waterworks Auto Wash on Belleville Road. I built it in '89 when next to nothing was on Belleville Road. 2 car dealerships, party store, 3 gas stations by Expressway. You approved a car wash last year for the next to Burger King, nice car wash. The guy's from Ann Arbor. He does a nice business. He's Ann Arbor, Saline, he's all over the place. I think he's got 12 or 14 car washes now. I just wanted to say that my family's been in this community for over 100 years, Van Buren Township. The car wash business, now there was nothing in Van Buren until '89 when I built, but we had one in Belleville built in '65. So that's how long, we've been here 60 years. The car washes approved in our area are within a half mile of Van Buren's borders. There's 10. Canton, Sumter, there was a new one there, Van Buren and Belleville. Car Wash Association in Michigan recommends you do about 15,000 residents in a community for every car wash. Canton has 16,632. They have 6 car washes. They spread them out pretty good. They have some on Michigan Avenue. They have some on Ford Road. With this new car wash going in, we'll be at 5,561 residents for Van Buren Township within a half mile of our borders of car washing. That's a little hard. I mean, competition is good, saturation's not so good. They have a lot of car washes in Florida. I'm in Estero, Florida also in the wintertime, and they have one right down the street. They bought an old car wash and they didn't do much with it, but took it over, changed the name. Of the 93 communities in southeast Michigan, including Wayne, Macomb, Oakland, Washtenaw counties, we're in first place right now, before we put a car wash in. We have more car washes per capita in Van Buren than any place. I think it got out of control a little bit. It's my business. My son runs it now, and it's his business. I think that's the wrong way to be in first place for car washes. And mainly it's a one-use building. Once the car wash, if we decide one day, says, you know what, you just can't make it, it's a vacant lot basically, because car washes can't be used much for anything than a car wash. Now, the one sounds like they're gonna put in retail and stuff. How many more fast food restaurants do we need? This board has the power to form this community into a better place for our residents. My uncle was a builder in this community. Christ, I think it's in the 50s. And he always said, measure twice, cut once. Well, I think you have a chance to please cut once. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, come forward.
Yeah, my name is Don Garlow. I live at 45155 McBride. And out of all the car washes that I've seen around here, not one of them is butt up against residential. My concerns are what's going to separate the noise and everything else from the residential. That car wash butts up against my property. The other concern is I was told on the original plan there was gonna be a berm. Well, I live next to the apartments. The berm doesn't do anything. I got cars coming down my driveway. When they wanna go into the, apartments, they just drive over the berm. Anytime, day or night. The other problem I have is when that berm was put in, they put a trash compactor right on top of the berm and built a road on top of the berm in front of my house. When I came down here and asked about it at the time it was being built, they said it's been approved. Now, when I moved in there, they never mentioned anything like that to me. And I was the one who put the parking lot in. So my concern is, am I gonna have to listen to the, 100, 200 cars a day coming in here to get washed? Am I gonna have to listen to that? And I don't know how much noise the car wash itself makes. And then the other thing, right where they're gonna put that up against my property, that's where my family, we do everything. We do our Easter there, we do barbecues, everything's right there. And if there's just a berm there, anybody can watch my family doing anything, just like they do from the apartments right now. So my concern is the noise level and the privacy. That's the concern I have about putting a car wash there. And if I'm not mistaken, in our area, like the gentleman talked about, that'll make number 8. 8 car washes. And that'd be the only one up against residential. Thank you.
Anyone else care to make a comment? Please, step forward.
Thank you. My name is Brad Traskis. Ooh, kind of loud here. I'm Pollock, and I'm very bad hearing, so I speak loud, excuse me. Born and raised down on Sumter Road, just past Hall Road, 1953. And that was way before you were born, I know that. But been here in Van Buren for a long, long time, proudly raised, went through all the schools. And now I reside in Sumter Township. But I'm very, very proud and loyal to be from Van Buren. And when I seen where the new company is proposing a car wash there on Belleville Road, well, tonight, coming to the meeting, you're just over 2/10 of a mile from the new one that's by Burger King. And then the family-owned one, Waterworks, is just over 2/10 of a mile the other way. And I have to believe that sooner or later, we've got to say, hey, that's enough. I mean, I come from Sumter now, and we have one new car wash, a real small one, on the corner there of Bemis and Sumter Road. And we welcome that. I'm a retired fire chief from Van Buren. Anytime I see a business going into a community, I look above it and I see dollar signs that you are going to be getting that runs your protection agencies and everything else for the township. So I've been loyal to businesses coming in, but I have to say, I don't agree with this new one coming in. I think we've got enough car washes in Van Buren Township. So thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Anybody else care to speak? Anyone else? Okay, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
I apologize. So I did want to highlight that we did receive 3 letters in opposition to the request. Those letters were from Edward Rose and Sons, who owns the apartment complex next door to the proposed use, from a S. Kimberlin, and then there was also a letter in the packet from Waterworks Auto Wash. So I just wanted to highlight those. I'm not going to read them, but unless the planning commission wants me to, but I just wanted to highlight them.
anyone care for him to read?
They're in the packet.
Chairman, they were in the packet. I read the letters.
I've read them.
I've read them as well. Yeah.
Through the chair. Are they available publicly, like on the public, like the packet link?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else concerning this item? Okay, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll try again, make a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a motion and support to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have item number 2 in the public hearing this evening. It's temporary land use for a fireworks stand zoning ordinance text amendment. At this time, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Through the chair, I move to open the public hearing.
Support.
We have a motion to open the public hearing. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Anyone from the public care to come up and speak concerning this item on the agenda? Anyone in the public? Seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to close.
Mr. Chairman, move to close the public hearing.
Support.
Motion has been presented and supported to close the public hearing. Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving ahead. First item up this evening is old business. And we have, I got paperwork all over the place here. Okay. We got it backwards. There we go. Okay. Item number 1. Case 24009, U.S. Signal Expansion Final Site Plan Approval. A request by owner U.S. Signal Properties, LLC, to continue phase construction of the data center. The site is located at 9275 Haggerty Road. This time, presentation from the township staff.
I will turn the presentation over to Lauren Sayer, who's our township planner. Lauren, please go ahead.
Thank you, Director Akers. So Planning Commission on February 25th, 2026, postponed final site plan approval so that the applicant could address some outstanding items, the first of which being a noise study and then also utility provider evidence regarding rates. So those were both provided in the noise study as well as the utility letter from DTE. So that is, I guess, up to Planning Commission if that is to their satisfaction and meets that. And the second item was the landscape plan. There was just a minor issue with identifying the replacement trees and clearly distinguishing them on the landscape plan. So this has been rectified. It's now clearly updated. We did note, though, in the elevations and now with the updated sound study, they are requiring a sound wall around it. They did provide a spec sheet, but we do want them to note what materials and what color definitively that sound wall is going to be. We also just want to ensure that the elevations on sheet A 201 do show that proposed sound wall on the north elevation and that the equipment screen is shown on the south elevation. But those can be done administratively, so I believe that is the only outstanding item from us.
Okay, thank you. Director Akers?
nothing further to add. The review letters that are in your packet are the review letters from the last meeting. There were no new reviews conducted. They did add those additional items. So I don't believe we need to go through engineering or we need to go through a fire marshal review as there weren't any changes regarding that.
I guess.
At this time, the next step would be to consider the review by the applicant.
Okay, is the applicant here? Please, step forward. Introduce yourself as well.
Tom DeYoung with US Signal.
And then I'm Andy Bajuzik with Etzel Engineer and Build. In addition to the responses included in the packet, the only other thing we brought with us this evening was a sample of what the sound wall material would be and the potential color that it would be also. So we want to share this with you guys.
Thank you.
And then the AIL manufacturer of that product is what was recommended in the sound study to be used. It'll be gray, yeah.
That looks like a sound wall.
Yeah, it does. Now, I would assume this is exterior face?
Perforated side would be on the interior, solid side would be on the exterior.
And that will be the color.
Isn't that great? Wherever you wanna-
Commissioners? Did you have anything else for us? Okay. Commissioners, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for engineering or the planner. Our concern with the sound study not being complete at the time was that it may have required additional berming or analysis of the sound study. I saw the sound study, it looks like it was completed, but I'm not an engineer. I'm certainly not a civil engineer. I'm wondering if engineering has any weigh-in on the report or its contents.
We did a review, or we read through the report and reviewed, and the report goes through the existing decibels at the surrounding property lines right now in a couple residential properties nearby, and it plugs in the proposed equipment that is part of the this project, and then it predicts the new decibel levels in the same spot, in the same areas that were the existing sound was recorded, decibel levels. With the new equipment going in, the sound was going to exceed, the decibel level was going to exceed what the zoning ordinance allows. So putting in the sound wall around what appears to be chillers brings the decibel levels down to under zoning ordinance requirements in the property line, and then it did measure or it provided predicted decibel levels that there's some residential properties to the south.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
the change to the plan was strictly to the material used for what was essentially screening around the equipment. It's being changed from a screening material into this blanketed absorptive material, yes?
That's correct.
Great, so no other architectural or plan site changes, just a choice of materials makes the difference.
Yes, yep.
I'm satisfied about the sound levels. I know that the sound study previously had indicated that it was very close to being compliant, but it wasn't within the recommended engineering safety margin.
Right.
This change makes the modeling show that it should be within the safety margins and it should be compliant. Yes?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Could you state what the report says is the sound level at the property line?
What the decibel level is at the property line?
Yeah, I see that. Can hear it.
Without the sound wall, the decibel level at the north property line would be 73 dBA. And the east property line was 75 dBA. And the southeast corner was 62. So the chillers are on the north side of the building. And that's where you see the largest decibel of the 73 and the 75. And then I think the report goes into the factor of safety adds 3 decibels. So that puts it over the zoning ordinance requirements. So then they provided a map with the sound barrier, dropping the decibels on the north property line to 69. And the east property is still at 75 and the southeast corner is at 62.
Could you say what the north is again?
69.
And the noise limit is what?
Do you have that information?
It's on the lower left portion of the report.
67 for residential.
Mr. Chairman, there is a different, or in the environmental protection standards for industrial properties in our zoning code, there are different decibel readings at different types of properties. So 67 decibels is the current limit at property lines that are adjacent towards residential properties.
Right.
For commercial industrial properties, the limit is up to 75. So that 69 decibel, and I'd have to double check with Lauren, but I believe that is on the side where there are commercial properties or industrial properties. Where it does reach the residential property on the north end towards the west, the decibel reading limit goes down to 61 decibels, which is below the required amount in our ordinance. But I can confirm that.
I'm confused. What is the requirement? What's the required decibel level at the north boundary line or property line? It says 67 here on the document.
It says at residence,
At residence.
Oh, okay.
property line, so it's,
The noise limits at the residence is 61, 49, 50, 50.
And then when it gets to the property line, it's less. Right,
It's more at the US Signal property lines.
right. But it's within limits. I just want everybody to know that, that's all. Okay.
Just to be clear, the modeling is compliant, right? It appears to indicate a compliance with the ordinance.
And that's really what I'm
The
looking for.
applicant, just as a discussion point, the applicant is still responsible for ensuring that their property maintains noise within the ordinance. If the ordinance inspector goes out and measures and finds that it's not compliant, they will not be in compliance and there will be a problem. This is an engineering study meant to give confidence that the applicant, when they construct their building, isn't going to build the building and then find out after they turn it on that they're out of compliance and can't have it. This was an extra step that they did to ensure that their engineering design should be compliant with our ordinances.
And that's correct. And we will do a post-construction test once we're done to show that compliance.
Good, that's good to hear. Yep.
Any other comments, commissioners?
I want to follow up on something I think we did talk about at the last meeting, and I think I know the answer. We did talk about screening on the north side as well. So I can make an assumption. I know that that came up. It's not showing up on this report. but I'm assuming that the new acoustic wall is probably providing that. So I just wanted to confirm that. Because originally it wasn't like that. An acoustic wall, you could actually see through it. You could see the equipment from Haggerty and Ricardo Drive. And so I know that they were going to address that one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, that screen wall will screen the new chiller equipment that's being installed.
Okay, just, I know we brought it up, I just want to confirm it, so we, okay.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone? Commissioner Jar, or Paul?
Just wanted to highlight, and thank you to staff or whoever reached out to DTE. So one of my concerns, I think multiple commissioners had the concern last time, was that there wasn't like a guarantee in writing that there won't be an increase to residential electric rates. That was included in writing, so I do appreciate that. Would probably still lean towards question how this would affect commercial rates, but I do appreciate that that is in writing.
Anyone else?
I'd ask the commissioner, do you feel that it meets the requirement put forth on the condition for approval?
I think the electric rate part does, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. The public. Anyone from the public care to make comment? Of course.
Good evening. My name is Monique Kirkowski, and I live in Van Buren Township at the moment. So I am very aware that US Signal is a very small data center in comparison. However, as I've stated before, and I state again today, it sets a precedence that we need to be careful of. I've watched that sound study, and I think that it's an interesting one because I think it is a true third-party study. And I would actually say I think they flunked, right? And they had to have it repeated, and then some remediation ideas on how to fix it. But I still think they push the limit. And I think that anything pushes the limit will cross. And if you watch any other cities throughout this nation who have allowed these data centers to go in, they have crossed the decibel limit, and once they're there, there's nothing they can do about it. You can't call 1-800-GOOGLE and say you're too loud. There really is nothing you can do once it's there. I do not believe our township has enough protections in place for the community for projects like these that test the limits for decibel levels, for example. I do not understand how they need 3 generators that are spewing diesel. Another data center could need 156 spewing diesel generators, and Saline has protections in their ordinances that brought that down to 14 generators for a data center that is a 1.4 gig. Are we careful enough with our ordinances? Construction during the midnight hours, lighting, sound decibels, all of these things that should be considered, even on a small one, because it sets precedence. I do not think we're careful enough.
Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? Okay, commissioners, what is your desire on this issue?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Jar.
I just want to make one other comment before entertaining a motion. I actually agree with Ms. Kirkowski that our ordinances need to be reviewed with regard to the data centers, their alternate power sources, their backup sources, their noise, the effects that they may have. And I believe that staff has been directed to work on that. I think our Board of Trustees has enacted not a data center moratorium, but an blanket industrial use moratorium, which is, even more indicative of an understanding of the problem. And I will say that since those type of zoning ordinances come through this body, I know message received. We'll be looking at them and we will be considering whether they are sufficient enough for our community going forward. I don't want anyone in the public to think that this isn't first and foremost on our minds, or that we're sitting on our hands and not doing anything. We are, in fact, working on it. But it is occupying a very large part of what our thoughts are with regard to the new ordinances for this sort of project. And I want to thank everyone who comes up and takes a minute to reiterate how important it is to the members of Van Buren Township, to the residents, the business people, how important it is that we do this job and do it well, and that we make certain that going forward, the ordinances that we put in place are sufficient for modern developments such as this.
And through the chair, I think that's a good reason why we have the moratorium in place, so that all of these are being addressed, and they have all been items that we have discussed.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Chairman, if there's no other comment from any of the other commissioners, I'd be prepared. Oh,
one
please,
quick comment.
please, absolutely.
Yeah, so.
If you'd like to make a motion in any forum too, you're welcome to.
No, so I appreciate staff and everyone, community input as well. I also agree with Ms. Kirkowski. I do think, and Jeff and Commissioner Jar mentioned, we are, slowly, government moves slow, sometimes maybe slower than we would like, moving towards putting some of those protections in place. That being said, I've been stated since we saw this the first time, I still do have concerns about the burden that this will place on the community long term, and I do appreciate the concessions that have been made, but that's still where I'm standing.
Anyone else? Then I would entertain an action on this item.
Mr. Chair, at this time I'd move to grant the applicant U.S. Signal Properties LLC the final site plan approval to construct Phase 2 and Phase 3 expansion of the data center at the site located at 9275 Haggerty Road, based on the analysis and subject to the conditions detailed in the McKenna letters dated March 30th, 2026, February 9th, 2026, the Fishbeck letter dated February 2nd, 2026, the Van Buren Township Fire Report dated February 19th, 2026, noting the feedback and concerns from the public with regard to data centers in general.
Support.
We have a motion and support for this item. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Then I would entertain a roll call vote, please.
Bernie Grant. Sherry Budd. Peter Creel.
Yes.
Jackson Paul. Jeff Jar.
Yes.
Brian Cullen.
Yes. So we have a vote of 5-1. Motion carries. Okay, moving ahead. So yes, you guys have it. Yep. Moving ahead. Item number 1 on new business, 25025, Elk Car Wash and Commercial Development Special Land Use Request. A request by Elk Car Wash, Michigan, Belleville LLC, to construct a 4,640 square foot facility to provide express automatic exterior automobile wash services and self-serving vacuuming, along with the 5,667 square foot building comprising of 1 retail and 2 restaurant tenant spaces, including 1 offering drive-through service. The site is located at address 10525 Belleville Road, 10501 Belleville Road, and 10401 Belleville Road, on the east side of Belleville Road, south of Westlake Apartments. Presentation by Township staff. Director Akers.
Thank you very much. I will turn the presentation over to Lawrence Ayer, Township Planner.
Thank you, Director Akers. So this site is in the C1 district. It is also in the Belleville Road Overlay District. And so auto wash establishments and drive-through restaurants are both special land uses. So that is the reason for the special land use review. So tonight, Planning Commission will make a recommendation potentially to Township Board on what they would like to do with the special land use. So in reviewing against the ordinance standards, in the first one, that it will promote the use of land in a socially and economically desirable manner. We did have concerns with the clustering of these two uses, both the car wash and the drive-through and the retail restaurants. Again, clustering very auto-centric uses in a district where it's meant to emphasize pedestrian access and mobility. Additionally, we did look at the traffic study that they provided, and so while we'll defer any in-depth technical review to the engineer, we did note that they have established that Belleville Road, it does operate at a level of service E, which is unstable flow. It's operating at maximum capacity, so we do have some concerns with that, and also hope for clarification on what the right turn lane that is being requested northbound, what that comment meant. Additionally, I believe it was noted during public comment, but as well, there are 5 car washes within a 3-mile radius. The applicant did provide a market study and noted a competitive advantage. We feel that this competitive advantage is really only if you're a pedestrian getting to the site. The difference of a few hundred feet does not matter to an automobile user, and since these are very auto-centric uses, we do not feel that this is again appropriate in this area. Regarding the necessary for public convenience at the location, sort of echoing that comment, there are, again, several car washes in the vicinity that do serve the public in the same manner, so we would defer to the Planning Commission if that is satisfactory in that regard. In terms of compatibility with adjacent land uses, we do acknowledge that there are multiple service-oriented businesses and restaurant and retail. Again, the concern really comes with the combination of multiple auto-centric and traffic-generating uses on a single site with a shared access. In terms of if it is designed, located, and proposed to be operated, that the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. The applicant is also having self-serve vacuums and vacuum stations. They indicated the tunnel will be enclosed and the vacuum stations will use low noise equipment. However, we do not have any noise generation information provided by the applicant, so we would defer to them on if they have any sound study or sound mitigation or what those actually are. And again, concerns with the traffic impact that this use might generate. We will defer to the township engineer on the being served by public utilities adequately. And in regard to causing injury to other properties, similarly, again, we would like to understand better what the sound reducing equipment that they're referring to is in reference. Again, we find the traffic study that finds that level of service D and E is acceptable with no mitigation of measures. We do not believe that would be appropriate to allow that to continue or worsen. And then with regard to the natural environment, helping conserve natural resources and energy, the landscape plan notes that there will be 48 replacement trees provided. We have only counted 28, so perhaps more of a site plan concern, but we do want that to also be addressed for that special land use. And then are there any provisions of the uses requiring special land use set forth in the various zoning districts that's in harmony with the purposes and conforms to applicable regulations? Again, as previously noted, the combination of several high traffic uses does pose a concern with many site design elements, again, mainly traffic, tree replacement. And is it is related to the valid exercise of the township's police power and purposes which are affected by the purpose of the activity. So we do find that the proposed car wash and drive-through restaurant reuse is related to the valid exercise of the township's police power and purposes which are affected by the proposed use or activity. Additionally, we did review this against use-specific standards, and we do find that this is meeting all of those. So in summary, the zoning ordinance requires that Planning Commission make specific findings for all special land use requests, including but not limited to the demonstration that the proposed use is needed in the area, is compatible with adjacent land uses, and will not create adverse impacts, including economic effects. We have reviewed the applicant's proposal and the responses multiple times, but continue to have concerns regarding the applicant's ability to fully demonstrate compliance with these criteria, particularly in relation to the documented need for the use and its proximity to existing similar facilities. So given the discretionary nature of the special land use review, we defer to Planning Commission to evaluate whether the applicant has satisfied the ordinance standards and to forward that recommendation to the Township Board as appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Akers?
Further to add, thank you.
That site plan. Do we have for special land use? That's all going on for site plan review. Okay. Presentation by the applicant. Is the applicant here?
While we're getting set up, good evening, everybody. My name's Gabe Schuckman. I'm with L Car Wash. Nice to meet everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. With me as well as Mitch Harvey. He's with Stonefield Engineering. He's our civil engineer on the project. Jacob Swanson, who's our traffic consultant. We also have the team from Krieger Clad here as well, who's a project architect. I know we're addressing right now the special land use portion of this application. So we'll probably, jump into that. But I think before I do that, I'd like to just, quickly introduce who L Car Wash is. Not sure if you guys know anything about us, so I'll try to give you the 60-second introduction. The company was founded in 2011 in Miami, Florida. 2017,
Interrupt for just a moment. If you could move that picture over to the other side of the podium, I think then the audience would have a better view of the monitor, a better view of the officials. That's a lot better.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the public's here and they have a right to see the meeting.
No, of course. I apologize about that. Founded in 2011 in Miami, Florida. Flash forward to today, we have 100 locations nationwide. We decided in 2022 that we wanted to exit out of there, continue our journey expansion across the country. So we decided to open up in the state of Michigan. We have 5 locations currently open in the state of Michigan. Just, a few unique things about our business. We're 30% employee owned. It's not 100% corporate owned by some corporation. It's 30% employee owned by employees here that are locally in the state of Michigan. So we have 5 locations right now. We'll have 10 open by the end of this year, and we'll have 20 open by the end of 2027 in the state itself. From a perspective of who we are, from our core principles and our mission statement, we hire within the community. We hire within 2 to 3 miles. So our number one goal is taking care of our associates, and our other number one goal is taking care of our customers. And, we have a big belief in excellence, in growth, in fun, and really taking care of our community. We just do a tremendous amount in the different communities that we're involved in. So we're excited to talk about that today as well. I wanted to, maybe just jump into the special land use standards that were, read to us. Candidly, I think there's a little bit of hyperbole that takes place. When people are discussing, what the special land use standards are and talking about different car washes. Not every restaurant is the same, not every car dealership is the same, not every house is the same. Everything's a little bit different. The car wash that you had that was built in 1970 is not the car wash that's built in 2026. So I think a lot of the information that's been presented this evening, truly against the project, is saying there's too many car washes. But I guess we have to really dive into the data. How many actually new car washes have been constructed? Our car washes that we construct are, state of the art. They're economically, environmentally sensitive as well. So, the older style car washes, we're reusing 90 to 95% of our water. We're using better energy efficient systems. Additionally, we're providing a cleaner wash as well. And, the reality being, if, these car washes weren't successful, we already have 5 open in the state of Michigan. We continue to build more car washes. We're only building them because consumers want to use them. Consumers are saying, we don't want to use a facility that's 50, 60 years old. So when the statistics that was presented by staff, says there's too many car washes in the market, what kind of car washes? Did you actually go analyze what kind of car washes we're talking about? Are all car washes the same? Are all restaurants the same? So I think when you're trying to use that as a denial for a special land use requirement, that's not a fair statement. I think every business is a little bit different, and you have to look at a 2026 car wash versus a car wash that's built in the 1970s. They're offering a different service, and the consumer's obviously showing that they want that newer, better product because that's important to them. The other thing that's important is we're a membership-driven business. If you join Elk Car Wash, you can use any Elk Car Wash in the state of Michigan or the state of Florida, wherever else we expand. People want to be able to wash their car any part of Metro Detroit that they're in. We currently have 5 open. We'll have 10 open by the end of this year and 20 by the end of 2027. That's an amenity for the Van Buren customer that doesn't just stay in Van Buren. They travel all across Metro Detroit. They're working in other parts of Metro Detroit, shopping in other parts of Metro Detroit, taking their kids to soccer games in other parts of Metro Detroit, and they may want to wash their car there. It's a convenience for the customer. A car wash that only has one location can't offer that kind of amenity. And I think that's something very, very important to understand. So I think it's very, very unfair when trying to use the fact there's too many car washes. You have to define what kind of car washes there are. So I really disagree, with that commentary regarding the special land use. I'd like to kick off to some of the other things that were brought up when the commentary came back regarding the special land use standards regarding landscaping. So Mitch Harvey, if you can address that, and then we'll jump into traffic after that.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Mitchell Harvey, 555 Old Woodward, Birmingham. So the landscaping item, to clarify that, the trees that we are replacing, we're replacing 24, or we're required to replace 48, but the trees that we're replacing are actually going to be planted at 8 to 10 feet, so they count as 2, is my understanding in the zoning ordinance. If that is not the case, we're willing to plant the additional 24 trees to accommodate that, but I would just like to clarify that point. Further on landscaping, I did want to point out that we feel this site is substantially landscaped compared to normal commercial developments. And there was talk about how clustered this development is and how these high traffic businesses are so close to each other. We're able to provide over 40% of our site is going to be landscape green space while meeting all the zoning ordinance requirements from parking, setbacks, and everything. So we don't feel like we're overdeveloping this site. We're using very similar uses that are around this Belleville corridor. For example, to the north, there's the Westlake Apartments, but the further you go north, you have AutoZone as well as Aldi. To the south, you have Bell Tire, Auto Lab Care, and then you have the Starbucks, Lefties, and Qdoba development that's further south of us. And then across Belleville Road, as everybody knows, there's the Walmart, the Tim Hortons drive-through, the Genesis Credit Union, and Applebee's. So we feel the uses that we are proposing tonight are very in line and complementary to these uses that already exist in the corridor. And we're definitely not overdeveloping the site by providing such a large amount of green space while staying within the zoning ordinance. Furthermore, on the landscape, and I just would like to highlight that we're bringing 113 new trees to the site and well over 400 shrubs, grasses, and perennials. A large portion of those are going to be on the east side to buffer our development from the neighbors to the east. And we really wanted to focus on that as we were going through our development. Discussing noise a little bit, we purposely placed the car wash and in line the commercial building to the south as close as we could to the front yard setback along Belleville Road. That's where the dryer is for cars exiting the drive-through or the car wash. So that noise is going to be directed towards Belleville Road. These dryers are also equipped with silencers to dampen any noise, and they're substantially quieter than your typical car wash that you're used to. The vacuum producers are also located as far as we could get them up on Belleville Road. Those are going to be fully enclosed in a concrete structure to dampen any noise. And really, we're seeing these car washes are not producing any noise within 60 to 100 feet away from the building itself. Just a few dimension numbers I'm going to point out. The entrance to the car wash is about 150, 160 feet from the eastern property line, and that's a further 150 feet from the nearest residential home. So we're looking at about a football field from building to building. And then, you know, if you want to look at those sound producing items have been pushed a further 150 feet closer to Belleville Road. Traffic-wise, we've kind of been working on this for a while, but we have condensed the site traffic to one access point. We believe this reduces the amount of turning movements onto Belleville Road. We also committed to doing shared access to development to the south. Mr. Swanson is here if there's any other questions specifically regarding traffic. He put together the traffic impact study that showed that the site will operate safely. We believe we meet all those criteria. Last item I want to touch on, car wash specifically. Gabe mentioned it, is the car wash will be equipped with a 3-stage oil water separator and settling tanks, and then that water is going through a reverse osmosis system. So from wash to wash, we're able to reuse about 90% of our water. You know, that's all I have. Gabe, anything you want to add?
I'd like to also invite up Jacob Swanson. Jacob Swanson's our traffic consultant who's been working on this project since the beginning. One commentary that was made in the presentation to staff was that we are not meeting the traffic and traffic concerns of the community. Fishbeck, who I believe is a review consultant for Van Buren Township, is that correct? Actually recommended this for approval and said that we do meet it. So just again, you know, we've been working very close in hand with staff and your community for the past 6 to 9 months to address every concern. I'd be happy to provide the list of all the changes we've made as well. We've probably, you know, just one small thing. That original retail building was 10,000 square feet. It's been shrunk down to 5,000 square feet. And also having 40% landscaping. I don't know how many other projects in the community have 40% landscaping. I'm sure staff can speak to that, but that's a tremendous amount of landscaping. We're really trying to address a lot of the concerns. But I really want to talk about traffic. That's something that's brought up quite a bit. And I'd like to defer to Jacob Swanson at this time.
Good evening, Jacob Swanson, Fleece and Vandenbrink Traffic Engineering. Excuse me. A few points I wanted to touch on. As Gabe said, there's been many iterations of this project as we've evaluated it from a traffic standpoint. Previous iterations had multiple driveways. With that, the level of service and the operational impacts will be lessened as you're splitting up the traffic. However, it increases the potential safety risks, as Mitch noted. The condensing the driveways into a single driveway minimizes the number of conflict points. So that would be a much safer consideration than providing 2 driveways and having a better level of service. A few other notes is, as part of the reviews we received, we eliminated pass-by from the evaluation. Pass-by trips is you're already on the road, you're stopping. So with your fast food and car washes, this is a good majority of the trips, as people aren't going from their home to car wash and then back. You're usually on your way to work, on your way somewhere else. So you're already there. So they're capturing the existing traffic. So we didn't consider that in our study. So the impact would be less than what we evaluated. Another point related to the level of service, the level of service at unsignalized driveways is very dependent on the traffic on Belleville Road. So if you look at any of the other commercial driveways on Belleville Road without a signal, the vast majority of those will all be level of service E. So we look at 2 considerations. One is a macro evaluation using our Synchro software, which looks at just a the volumes and the characteristics, but we also look at a micro simulation, which simulates individual cars and it considers the impact of the signals and the progression and gaps in there. So what we found was that with that consideration in mind, the driveway is expected to operate acceptably. The only other note I will put is that it is technically a level service E, but that starts at 35 seconds. It's 35.6. So it's a second away from being considered a level service D. And I believe that is all I had, but I am open to any questions you guys may have.
Thank you very much. Also Chick-fil-A, I believe, is under construction as well. So I think that's another, per se considered auto-centric type use with a drive-through. So, we have, I think from our 100 locations, a bunch of them are next to Chick-fil-A's. This is the type of retail adjacency that we open up in. I do think we're gonna make a positive economic impact. We're gonna, take a piece of vacant land, develop it. I think that's what the community is looking to do generally. We're gonna invest in our location $10 million. We're gonna build another retail center for another $5 to $7 million. $17 million of economic development in this community, which we're excited to do. I guess I'll defer to the planning chair. Our attorney, drafted on February 19th, Carson Fisher. I think it's part of your planning packet. The reasons why we feel we meet the special land use criteria. If I need to read it, I'm happy to read it, but if it can go on the record, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we have it in the packet.
I really wanted to address those specific items that were brought up, because I think there's a lot of misnomers that are brought up about our business, about our industry, comparing us to older car washes, but we're just different. We're different service. We're very community oriented. If you had an opportunity to watch Channel 4 News on Easter Sunday, you would have seen me on there. In Troy, Michigan, we're about to construct a two-story car wash, actually. But the second story is going to be for the Rainbow Connection. It's a nonprofit that's almost like a Make-A-Wish Foundation for kids. It's Metro Detroit based. We're building them free office space at that location, and Channel 4 ran a story about that. We give a tremendous amount of back to the community. We're excited to do that in this community as well and partner up with your local charities. But as you consider this project, I just ask you to consider based upon fact and not based upon misnomers, because a lot of times I do these presentations almost every night, and I think people say there's too many car washes, there's too much traffic. When you look at the hard data, and we take a lot of time to put together this hard data, we actually are bringing something to the community. And I respect, an older car wash that's been here for a long time. And I totally understand that they're concerned about us. But we're not here to put anybody out of business. We're just here to bring our company to your community. And I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Planning commissioners, questions, comments? It's our floor.
I have a question for the applicant. So you mentioned that there's, you're not concerned about sound. Have there been any, formal sound studies conducted?
We've conducted several sound studies in the past, not for this location. Generally the largest noise emitter comes from the dryers, even if the buffers. Noise travels in a linear direction, so it would go towards Belleville Road. We've completed a bunch of different sound studies. Usually once you're 60 to 100 feet off the building line, you're going to be at about a 60 to 62 decibel level, or even less, which is pretty much what you currently have right now. So it's usually right on the property line, and by the time you leave the property lines, there's no noise being emitted from the car wash and its equipment.
I have one more if it's okay.
No.
How many gallons of water do you use per day?
Depends on how many cars we do, but I think every wash is about 90 gallons.
On a average Wednesday in July, how many cars would you say go through?
Cars.
So it's what? 50,000 gallons a day, roughly?
How much are we
And then we're able to use 90% of it.
We're reusing 90% of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
So emitting from the from the township systems would be 10% of that amount.
Got it. Thank you.
Look, add on to that, so you use 90 to 95% of that water, so you filter it, right?
Correct.
So I noticed you said you had oil separators. How do you deal with the waste or sediment, oil? How does, how do you deal with that once you separate it?
Month, like a suction
Yep.
truck comes in and, literally sucks it out, and that's how they deal with it. You probably have more technical response than I do. But.
So the other 10% of the water is what?
It goes into the sewer system, but it's all treated before it goes through there. So basically, we have 3 tanks underground, grease trap type of tanks that are settling tanks. So you have your oils flow to the top, so your sediment goes to the bottom. That it goes through that treatment train. Then there's an oil water separator at the end. That goes into the building and is through a reverse osmosis system. And then the water that's able to be reused is put into the tanks, and then the other 10% would leave the site through the sanitary sewer, not into the storm sewer, just to be clear.
Is it as clean as the 90%?
Yeah, it's all going through that same treatment, yes.
So I do have another question. Given the saturation of car washes in this area, why pick Van Buren Township and on Belleville Road, other than I realize there's a lot of traffic?
We just, when we pick a location, we're looking at what we view as a modern express car wash. And for a modern express car wash, there's only one to the south of 94 that was recently constructed. And we don't believe there's another modern express car wash in the area. I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive to the other group that's here, but it's just the truth. That's how we view it. We view that, Van Buren Township is a growing community. It's a great community. It's a community we want to be in. We think there's great retail adjacency between all the different retailers that are on the road. And we think it's a place that we could do business and bring our brand and bring some, great things to the community and clean people's cars and have fun doing it. That's the reason we're here.
Okay, and obviously the plan shows commercial development along with a car wash. So obviously they go hand in hand. If you don't get the car wash, you don't get, commercial's not going in, right?
Correct. We're the petitioners doing all the whole project.
Through the chair. I do have a problem with the location just because of the traffic light that is there and all the traffic coming in of the Menards, Tim Hortons, all of them that coming out there. They're all competing with the people coming out of the apartments. And now we're going to have you with another fast food restaurant, car wash, and the amount of traffic in the morning and any time in the afternoon is almost more than that road can handle. And I just think that this is not a good location.
I respect that. We're not going to invest, $16 million into a location where we think our customer can't get in and out. So our business is membership driven. 90 to 95% of the customers are going to be coming through our location day in, day out. From the car wash perspective, they're members. They're going to be paying us $30 a month for an unlimited amount of washes. They can come through there daily.
Yep.
If they don't believe that they can get in there, they're not going to shop with us. And we're going to have a location, we've built this big, beautiful building that nobody wants to use. So we have to make sure before we ever, come here and present, make sure that we believe we can do business there, make sure we believe we can stay in business. Because the last thing I want to do is invest $16 million and lose it all. So that's just the truth of it. So, we do just as much as the traffic studies are important for the community, they're important for us. We want to make sure that we can be there. We want to make sure that we can be successful. So I wouldn't be opening up there if I was concerned about the fact that people couldn't get in and out of my business, if I didn't think it was safe. More than 50% of our customers, we have a lot of customers that have kids and driving through there. We want to make sure those kids are safe. We don't want any issues, just like the community doesn't want issues. So we rely on the consultants to give us good data as well. We work hand in hand with communities. But we're not going to open up something that's not going to work and it's going to be dangerous and safe, because that's just not good for business for us either. So I respect it, but if your reviewing engineer, Fishbeck, said, we believe you should get approved. We believe you meet all the criteria. So that's what we're relying upon. And I appreciate it. I don't live in Van Buren. I can't speak to it. But I'm just working with the data that I have. That's all.
Through the chair. I know you briefly touched on this a little bit during the presentation, but just a few sentences. Could you just summarize the main differences between, you keep mentioning the modern express car wash versus like older car wash, without getting too technical, maybe could you just talk a little bit about that?
I think, equipment's, think about a car, right? So a car that was built in 2000 is probably different than a car that's built in 2026. So all the equipment's been modernized. The water reclaim, everything's been monitored. It's just all different. It's all different technology.
Proprietary to you, or is it just, that's the way like the industry's going?
That's the industry's going. There's a Motor City equipment, there's Sonny's equipment, there's a few different equipment manufacturers. And they're making different innovations to make sure your car comes out a little bit cleaner, to make sure your car comes out drier. Just and making sure you can get through getting through the system a little, through the tunnel a little bit faster. But it's evolution of technology, just making things better is the reality of it. Making sure stuff doesn't break down. Various things such as that.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Jar.
the applicant brought up several times a statement that he believes Fishbeck Engineering has unequivocally given approval from an engineering standpoint for the traffic study. But I've read Fishbeck's letter, and I don't believe that's what it says. I think that letter was written in regard to a site plan assessment and a preliminary one. And I don't want to read the report into the record, but I believe what that letter said is that the traffic report is flawed and is missing key data. But maybe I didn't read that correctly. I'm hoping that our engineer could maybe weigh in on that.
Yeah, our traffic staff did provide a review of the latest traffic impact study. We did come up with some comments. We're asking for a couple things to be revised in the letter and resubmitted. And then, of course, as always, it needs to be submitted and approved by Wayne County. They are proposing to add a right turn lane on northbound Belleville Road. Now, however, our letter does not blanket or clearly say we approve your traffic impact study, but it doesn't, I guess, reject it either. We did provide some minor comments to be addressed, and that we would like a revised traffic study. But I did discuss the level of service issues that are brought up by McKenna's letter with our traffic engineers, and we do find them acceptable for the current road, Belleville Road and the intersection, that area and size of the road and the traffic use. Our traffic engineers indicated that they're acceptable level of services, as the traffic engineer also said.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Jar.
I would just also like to address one or two other statements that the applicant has made. One is that you seem to imply that we don't know what our own car washes look like in this community. I use them. I know what they look like. Thanks. I would also add that while there are similar auto uses, and the applicant has encouraged us to consider not car washes that have been in the community for 30, 40 years, but to consider his new car wash, I would also point out to the Planning Commission that many of our businesses along Belleville Road predate our Belleville Road Overlay District. We have buildings that don't match the standard for the Belleville Road Overlay District. Those are legal non-conforming businesses. Doesn't make them a less viable business. It doesn't mean that they aren't a good business. But there are businesses along Belleville Road that if they were to try to reconstruct the business today, they, in their current form, wouldn't meet the standards of the Belleville Road Overlay District. So I agree with the applicant, it's important to look at the whole picture of the location and the use. My feeling on it is that we are already highly served in the area for car washes. I had recently the opportunity to drive into Saline, Michigan on a fairly regular basis, and I can tell you, I know what a community that has too many car washes looks like. It's Saline. And some of them are not in business because newer car washes come along, the old car wash doesn't survive, and now it's a vacant parcel there in Saline. I've seen some evidence or some data presented in the meeting in our packet this evening that says that we would be having even more car washes per capita than the township of Saline. I don't believe that a car wash is appropriate in that location. I don't want you to get the wrong impression. Business looks like it could be very successful. And maybe in a different part of the township where it would be more convenient, or if it was, further south and towards the Sumter area where it could serve a wider portion of our population, it may actually be a more convenient location. But at the location that you're proposing, it really seems like we have a lot of car washes along that area. And I want to say, I heard Mr. Suleiman say that competition is good, saturation is not good. I think you've all heard me say a similar sentiment with other cases here, that one instance of something is great, 2 is competition, 3, well, that's a lot of competition, and more, you need to start thinking about what's right for our community. Special land use is special land use because the activity is expected to be potentially a problem or to cause issues or be detrimental to other permitted land uses. I believe that people could come to the car wash in that location, but I also believe that that increased traffic would have a detrimental effect on the other businesses along Belleville Road. I believe that a car wash, while it's a very nice looking car wash, and I appreciate that it's in Belleville Road Overlay District earth tones, I think that's very good. It's not really a pedestrian-friendly type of development. Our Belleville Road Overlay District is specifically there to be representative of the vision of our community for our downtown. We're a township, we don't really have a downtown, so to speak, but our Belleville Road Overlay sort of provides that for us. And it is meant to be walkable, it's meant to be pedestrian scale. And I don't believe that the car wash, the way it is in this location, is necessarily compatible with that model. I don't think it's in harmony with the Belleville Road Overlay District. Couple that with the density. This is not just one, if this was one special land use request, if this was a fast food restaurant, a single fast food restaurant with a drive-through, we'd be very concerned about it. We would be thinking, gee, what's that going to do to the traffic at that intersection at Westlake? Even a single fast food drive-through would face a pretty high level of scrutiny for special land use. So just like a car wash would. This isn't one special land use. This is a drive-through and a car wash. I don't see how we could say that this isn't going to be far more likely to give rise to the unique problems with respect to their impact on the neighboring property when we consider them together as a cluster development like this. And again, it's not that I don't like your business. I think it's a very nice looking car wash, but the location, given the traffic, and the noise and the residential areas around it, I don't believe that this meets the requirements set forth in our section 12-306 of the zoning ordinance. But if my fellow planning commissioners have a different opinion, I'm absolutely willing to, as always, willing to listen and hear the arguments.
Through the chair, I have a question for Fishbeck. How many, which I would consider a right turn lane to be the same as a decel lane, right? Kind of the same thing. How many do we have on Belleville Road?
That's a good question. I don't think I know that off the top of my head.
I don't think there's any.
I don't think we have any.
And I guess where I'm going with that is, when I see right-hand turn lanes or decel lanes, it's because of the volume of traffic and the fact that it needs to slow down. So I think where it's tending to lead me is that the volume of the traffic that's going to be on site for the car wash is such that they require that, so that it doesn't fully impede traffic. So this is something that's almost an exception to what we typically do along Belleville Road itself. So I'm concerned about, I'm looking at the development, that it's the building on the right-hand side just almost seems like it just comes along with the car wash because it's so small. But I think that the volume of traffic created along the backside of the neighborhood, I think it's a negative impact to the neighborhood that's adjacent to it. I think I do have a big concern economically that it may have a negative impact, given the saturation, the amount of car washes that are in our area, that we might see one shut down and just sit there empty, which is a negative impact on the community as a whole. So I would agree that, the placement in this location, while I do agree that it's a pretty good-looking car wash, and a lot of the things you describe on the engineering side sound very attractive for a modern-day car wash, that maybe someplace a little different than just in that zone specifically would be probably make a little bit more sense. I'd agree on the special side, and for what it means and the impact it has on our community, that I would agree that it's just not exactly the right spot.
Can I just address a few of the comments? So, Commissioner's comments. You're going to the current car wash across the street, right? Accurate? The gentleman,
A comment or a question, just,
Sure.
I'm sorry,
So, I mean,
you're
we have-
is he addressing me?
Yes, because you're the one that made the comment about you use the car washes in the township.
Yeah, so the car wash across the street, do you vacuum over there?
I've lived here a long time, a very long time, and I've used every one of these car washes at some point.
25 vacuums at our location. I don't believe they have vacuums there. They have 3 vacuums for 75 cents. Our vacuums are unlimited and free. So that's just one difference that I want to bring up. But I do want to bring up I'd like to address that traffic question. Is it okay if I invite Mr. Swanson back up to address it?
Can I make a comment just before, because you made the comment about their equipment and everything at this older building isn't, that car wash was closed for a few months because they upgraded all their equipment. So I think their equipment probably works as fashionable as any new car wash that might be building. The building might not look like that, but it's getting the car wash. Their vacuums are all new systems. So they've done a lot of work to improve the inside so that their customers are satisfied. And I sort of reject the idea that you think because it's an old building, they're not doing what they're supposed to. I don't like that
Yeah.
comment.
I appreciate that, and I just don't think that, if I look at the criteria, the special land use, I don't think the criteria should be based upon not putting potentially somebody out of business. Because what I'm hearing today is we'd rather have this piece of land vacant than another piece of land vacant.
I'm going to tell you right up front, I'm concerned about the traffic on Belleville Road. I drive Belleville Road frequently, and I go sometimes the back way depending on the time of day because of the traffic. You're putting in a car wash. You're also asking us to give you special land use on that, and at the same time, put in a drive-through restaurant. That's going to increase the amount of traffic. I don't care what the traffic study says and what it's promoted. I'm looking at 94 is a half a mile south of there. And people driving through there are going to be coming along and seeing the new drive-through restaurant, and it's got to be different than the other 4 or 5 that we have, or 6 or whatever is along that area. It's going to increase because it's going to attract somebody new to that, and that's going to increase the amount of traffic. So your promotion on your traffic study, I believe, is not looking at that. It's looking at how our population is increasing in the township. So as you say, we're concerned about existing businesses and what have you. And yes, I've been in the community for many, many years, as well as my family before me. So yes, I'm very concerned with the way this community looks. And I'm seeing through this traffic study, and I'm also concerned right there at the stoplight, we're going to see left turns made into the Walmart area. We get 2 cars backed up. How is somebody going to make a left turn into yours? And at that point, you're going to back up traffic in that left drive-through or pass-through lane. That's going to cause problems. I just see that traffic is just too heavy, and you're promoting the number of cars that you're looking at for stacking possibilities, that if it fills up, you're going to be spilling back out onto the road.
South?
From the car wash, the drive-through, and also the merge of those two. And what happens if somebody decides when they're going through the drive-through that they don't want to purchase or to cancel their order? There is no pass-through. There's no pass-by on the, not according to what I saw on the site plan. Yeah.
There's a 15-foot strip of bypass lane.
And as somebody's leaving it doesn't seem, I see traffic congestion on your plan itself. And to grant special land use means we're going to see a lot of traffic along there.
So that right there would be the bypass lane, and then these squares represent the 15 required stacking vehicles. And then here in the car wash, you have 38 stacking spaces, and then there's a bypass or exit lane here. So if you get in line, you want to leave, you have that opportunity to leave.
Well, what happens if you get past that?
If you get past that, you're in the pay station, and you're getting your car washed at that point.
If somebody has to leave, there's no bypass on that side, on the north side, that allows them to bypass and to move on around. They have to make that decision before they get into the queue for for the vacuums. Once they get past the vacuums, they have no choice but to go through your car wash.
I guess it would be easy to cut in a bypass here if that was, the commission.
I'm just seeing problems with traffic in your design itself. And then I believe I saw something about the fire truck. You've got a second story there, and I would imagine that they would need the ladder truck. How does a ladder truck make a swing when you were using the pumper?
More of a site plan review question,
I
actually, Mr.
understand
Chairman.
that.
I apologize.
I was waiting
The
on
app-
the
the
site
applicant
plan,
didn't
but
get a
I
chance
wanted to.
present it yet.
Yes. But it was another concern that I have about granting a special land use.
Mr. Chairman, if I could provide some insight on the process that maybe our planner may be able to also comment on. Special land use requires us, what we feel or what we think. That's not what really determines the special land use. What determines our recommendation for it is whether or not we believe you've met the criteria set forth in section 12306. And in our planner's letter, they gave specific special land use review comments for all of the subsections in there, the nine separate points. And I believe there were serious concerns on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 of them that I share. And I believe that the McKenna planner's letter does a very good job of describing the concerns and the reasons why you maybe have not met the specific criteria to gain the special land use review recommendation at this time. Rather than discuss further details about the site plan, I really would like to take a straw poll among the commissioners who have read the packet and read the report and see, do we think at this point that the applicant has met all of the criteria set forth in 12306?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think we should move forward.
I'd like to read then, if that's the case, I'd like to go through the special land use criteria and go answer point by point and get it on record.
Mr. Chairman, if he's, respectfully, the applicant's letter, I believe, is part of the packet, which is part of the public record already. Don't need to read it, we've got it. We've seen it, we've read our consultant's version of their analysis of the section. We've read the analysis from the applicant, from the applicant's representative. And myself, I side with our consultant. I believe that for many of the reasons cited in the report, that this does not warrant the special land use at this time.
There's been a lot of
Agreed.
conversation this evening, and I think we've presented a lot of facts and a lot of testimony today to those points. And I think a lot of stuff that's come out, and one of the comments was made to me, I don't care what the reports say. That was just said to me. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on these reports, and the response I just got from this commission is, I don't care what the reports say.
Take the soundbite.
I will take the
What
soundbite.
what I said was, I don't agree with the traffic report as presented because it takes into account only the increase in the population and projected increase in population. It does not take into account the drive-bys that we have on I-94 with the freeway right there and the increase that could possibly be due to another drive-through restaurant, because we're looking not at just this car wash, we're also looking at this as special land use for the drive-through restaurant.
If I can ask one question, what pedestrian-friendly project has been approved on Belleville Road in your overlay? Was it Chick-fil-A a pedestrian-friendly project?
Yes, I believe it was.
It is.
Drive-through, so drive-throughs promote pedestrian-friendly.
I live right around the corner and I can walk there. So I would say I
You can walk to the car wash also, can't you? You can walk to the strip center, can't you?
need for it. If I was a pedestrian, I wouldn't need to wash my car because I'm a pedestrian.
Walk to the shopping center next door, can't you?
Sure could. There's also Walmart, Meijer, Menards.
So what's the
Aldi.
definition of pedestrian-friendly? You can walk to the business?
Mr. Chairman, there's
Yes.
not a definition of pedestrian-friendly, and I feel like we need to, at this point, move on with this discussion.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would just take a quick request for my planning commissioners, if you will allow it. Planning commissioners, do you feel, yes or no, is a car wash business already highly served in the immediate area?
Yes.
Of course.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask, does the planning commission feel that this would create significant adverse effects at the location, including traffic congestion, possibly wastewater runoff into public streets and sidewalks, noises that are incompatible with the adjacent residential areas, and the Belleville Road pedestrian use?
From every, yes.
If anybody has an objection to that statement, I'd like to know, because I want our commission to really weigh this, because the gentleman has done a lot of background work, right? And we
How
owe
am I,
it to
how am I
him, you know?
promoting wastewater
So-
runoff? I want to understand that.
Excuse me. We are discussing up here, not you. We will give you the opportunity to answer the question if given. We are discussing within ourselves.
Have you closed the presentation of the application? Has that been closed?
Yes. We opened it up for the planning commission discussion. And at that point, we have the opportunity to ask you questions, which you provide the answers or attempt to. At that point, it's still our discussion, not yours. So, Commissioner Jarrett, continue.
Mr. Chairman, I'd ask our commissioners, do you feel that the request for special use of two separate activities in the same facility, the drive-through restaurant and the car wash, either of which could be detrimental to other permitted land uses when considered alone, do you feel that that is perhaps more likely to give rise to unique problems with respect to their impact on neighboring property when presented together?
Yes.
Finally, I would ask, do you feel, commissioners, that the applicant has met the requirements set forth in section 12.306 for special land use recommendation?
No.
Move forward with the motion.
Mr. Chairman, if the commission would be pleased, I would move forward at this time with the motion.
Through the chair, though, real quick. According to the agenda, after planning commission discussion, there's a public comment section.
Right.
So just before we move to a motion.
Mr. Chairman, it
I
would
wanna
be
give-
it
I
would
wanna
certainly
give-
be appropriate to stick with the agenda and give the public their chance.
Am I going to get the chance to finish up, sir?
Comments to make a comment, including the
Yes.
applicant, so.
Am I going to have a chance to finish up my portion?
In the public comment section, through
I
the chair.
thought you had finished. I apologize if you hadn't.
No.
If you haven't finished, my assumption was you sat back down and with your group and moved away and didn't come back up, and I opened it for the discussion amongst us. But
I do believe he wants to argue what he's already said.
could very well be. But
I'm just gonna just get this stuff on record, so I appreciate it.
everything is on record that you had presented.
What I'm gonna say, if that's okay.
Is it different from what's in the packet? What was presented to us in the packet from the attorneys?
Some additional items based upon the conversation today.
I think you've argued all of the comments that we've made already.
Through the chair, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is there a difference between presentation from the applicant and public comment?
I do believe that.
Yes. Presentation from the applicant is his presenting what he wants us to approve.
Is he now considered public?
If your preference is for me not to continue, let me know.
Just asking.
I believe the public comment.
He is on record with everything, that's what I'm saying.
Public comment, yes, and you would have 3 minutes.
Comments and give them.
I appreciate the last few minutes of asking those 4 questions, but I don't think you guys established how I don't meet any of those criteria. But I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Okay. The public, is there anyone from the public that would care to speak?
Mike Sullivan, 50715 West Heron River Drive, here in Van Buren Township. Obviously, he didn't look at his competition across the street. We remodeled, like Mrs. Bud said, 2 years ago. We don't charge for our vacuums, they're free. Anybody that pulls into the street 24 hours a day, it's free. You don't have to get an automatic car wash, it's free. He talked about Motor City Car Wash. Well, we have some of their equipment, we have some of the equipment down the street up there in Northville also. So all the car wash equipment's been redone. We're paying the taxes because we had to claim all that stuff. But we're updated. The other one's only been open for 6 months. They're updated. Car wash on Sumter Road, we also own that one. That's a touch-free. That was updated 2 years ago. All brand new. All new equipment. The one on Sumter Road and Bemis just opened up in the last 4 or 5 months. It's brand new. The ones up on Canton Center Road, there's 3. 2 are brand new within the last 6 months. So maybe he didn't look around the area to see. Our car wash wasn't built in 70. There aren't any car washes in our area that were built in 1970. Ours was the oldest one, and I think it's 89. In fact, it was 89. But like I said, it's been remodeled. Thank you very much.
The old cripple guy goes last. It's kind of obvious to me, sitting here listening to you folks, listening to this excellent presentation these folks made tonight. They have not driven Belleville Road when it's prime time. And prime time from Belleville Road isn't the little window of 5 o'clock. It's from 1 o'clock at noon until 7 o'clock at night. And I can understand with a turn-in lane going north on Belleville Road, it would be pretty easy to pull in to their restaurant, to the car wash. But coming from the north, going south, turning into the middle turn lane there by Tim Hortons it would create a nightmare. And being a retired fire chief, you really need to have Davey take a look at their plans to make sure they can get their 100-foot tower in there for the second level. Thank you.
I just have a question I don't understand. If you come out of that car wash, how do you turn left? The center
Thanks.
turn lane is filled up with cars going into Walmarts, Walgreens, Tim Hortons. So the center lane is full. But when the traffic light turns green and lets the two lanes go through, the center lane is still stopped. So then when the light turns red and lets the center lane go, the traffic's built up right there again. So how does somebody turn left? Do you have to go right? It's a question I would like answered.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, it's a public comment section. It's not a
Yes.
public question section. The question is absolutely very appropriate, but it's appropriate during the site plan review when we have the map of the parcel in front of us. It is absolutely an excellent question.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anyone else from the public? Okay, commissioners, your desire.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd move to recommend to the Township Board that they deny the request for the applicant El Car Wash, Michigan Belleville LLC, for the special land use approval to construct a facility to provide express automobile wash services and self-serve vacuuming, along with the 5,600 square foot building comprising of 1 retail and 2 restaurant tenant spaces, including 1 offering drive-through service at the site located at the addresses described in the agenda item this evening. This decision being based on the analysis and noting specific concerns detailed in the McKenna letter dated March 10th of 2026, taking into account some of the information presented in the Fishbuck letter dated March 10th, 2026, the Van Buren Fire Report dated March 9th, 2026, noting the feedback and concerns from adjacent landowners and members of the business community, as well as residents, and that the Planning Commission finds that the special land use request does not meet the requirements in section 12.306 of the zoning ordinance. The requested use for a car wash is already in a highly served area. The proposed use would create significant adverse effects at that location, including traffic congestion, water runoff into public streets, noises that are incompatible with adjacent residential areas and Belleville Road pedestrian use. The multiple drive-through nature of the proposal is not intended to be pedestrian-friendly. It's not in harmony with the purposes of the Belleville Road zoning district or the master plan. And requesting special use for 2 separate activities in the same facility, a car wash and a drive-through restaurant, either of which could be detrimental to other permitted land uses when considered alone, is far more likely to give rise to unique problems with respect to their impact upon neighboring property when considered together.
Support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jar, supported by Commissioner Creel. Any discussion on the motion? Excuse me, supported by Commissioner Grant. I apologize to both of you. Do we have any discussion on the motion?
I have a question on the motion, or procedurally. For roll call vote, a yes vote indicates I am agreeing with the motion, correct? Not with special land use?
Right.
The motion that I made was to recommend to the Township Board that they deny the request. A yes vote would mean we recommend a denial.
Right.
That's my intention.
That's what I see it as.
Does
Trips me up every time, so, yeah, thank you.
staff agree that that's procedurally the correct move?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry.
Any other discussion? With that, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Peter Creel? Yes. Bernie Grant?
Yes.
Sherry Budd? Jeff Jar? Brian Cullen?
Yes. So we will deny that, send that recommendation to deny to the Township Board.
Mr. Chairman, if
Yes.
I can just add that, we don't make that decision whether or not to grant the special use. That, I hope that the applicant understands this is something that we recommend to the Township Board. They consider what we wrote, they'll consider what the applicant presents, they'll consider what they feel is best for the community. It's not a final decision, it's a decision that's made at the Board of Trustees level. This is simply our recommendation to the Board of Trustees. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, I just want
Yes.
to make sure it was clear for the.
Yes. Okay. That leads us to item number 2. 25-025, Elk Car Wash and Commercial Development Preliminary Site Plan Approval. With this action at this point, since we have recommended to deny, I would look to postpone this item until we get an action by the board. Would,
Mr. Chairman, I think that would be wise rather than go through the site plan at this time, given that there is an action pending by the township board. If the township board approves the special land use request, we would expect to see this come back in front of the planning commission at the next possible meeting, as soon as possible. If the township board does not approve it, then there's not, there won't be a preliminary approval. It won't be able to be granted. So, Mr. Chairman, barring any other discussion, I'd move to postpone consideration of item 2, pending action by the township board with regard to the special land use request.
okay? Was that in?
Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I was giving the opportunity for the rest of the commission to weigh in. If there was any discussion on the motion, I seek your support followed by discussion on the motion.
I was going to support it, but I
It's
don't
a
think
motion.
Okay,
It's a motion.
support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jar, supported by Commissioner Grant. Got it right this time. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Makes sense.
Okay, with that, roll call vote, please.
Bud? Bernie Grant?
Yes.
Creel? Jackson Paul?
Yes.
Jeff Jar? Brian Cullen?
So we will postpone that, depending on the action of the Township Board. Okay, moving ahead. Item number 3 tonight. Project Venture, amended site plan approval. A request by applicant HIP VI Enterprises LLC on behalf of owner Wayne County Airport Authority to revise the proposed guardhouse off the main entrance drive. This site is located at 6845 Denton Road on the north side of Ecorse Road, south of Van Born Road, east of Denton, and west of Beck. Presentation by the township staff. Director Akers.
Thank you very much. I will turn over the presentation to our township planner, Lauren Sayer. But first, before I turn it over, the applicant had reached out to me earlier because, A, this was such a minor amendment to such a large site plan, considering the architecture of a guardhouse, and B, because this is the Passover holiday this week, and it is a family-owned company, and they are all out of the office. So I did excuse the applicant from attending this evening. You know, if it comes up where there's additional questions, I can make sure they're referred, but I did not believe that necessary, so I wanted to let the planning commission know that ahead of the time. And then, Ms. Sayer, if you would please proceed, excuse me.
Thank you, Director Akers. So on January 28th, 2026, Planning Commission approved the final site plan with the condition that some masonry be added to the proposed guardhouse and that they remove the proposed floodlights, and this was to be approved administratively. So in that process, the applicant did make some changes to the footprint of the guardhouse and the height, which is why it's back before you today as a site plan amendment, as we feel these revisions do trigger the Planning Commission to review it again. So the footprint is increased about 88 square feet, and the building height increased from 10 feet and 9 inches to 11 feet and 3 inches, so 6 inches. So we did want to note that this increase will not impact the traffic circulation pattern in that front entrance area. It will not impact the landscaping. The height is still well within the permitted height for the M2 district. The floodlights have been removed, and the proposed fixtures must be directed downward and shielded. The structure is to be constructed of brick for a height of 42 inches from grade, and then metal panels for the remaining portion. It will have significant glazing on its facade, and the proposed colors are intended to complement the colors of the main building. So, given that these proposed changes do not materially impair or alter the function or the design of the site, we recommend approval of the proposed amendment of the site plan. Thank you.
I have nothing further, thank you.
Okay, commissioners, or is the the applicant, you would, yes. With that.
It's going on 2 hours.
Yes. Commissioners, comments?
I think this is a real easy one, and it ought to just go through.
Agreed. It's not significant, so I don't think it's that much of a change.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think 3 million square foot.
I want to hear what Commissioner Grant has to say.
I'm waiting for him.
Probably the color.
Our architect.
I would probably ask why it wasn't done internally, you know, so, because it's such a small, but I understand the dimensional changes probably pushed it in a direction.
Why wasn't it administratively approved?
It's pretty darn close to that. It's like very close to the board, so it's like,
Because the size of the building increased, that's why we brought it
Allowed
back.
to administratively approve it
Right.
once there's a size increase. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
That's right.
And at least they came forward instead of just
Yeah.
building it,
yeah.
like we have had in the past, but.
Recognize the change in the field, let's put it that way. So I would agree that, that it should go through.
I'd like to know what the public has to say.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Anybody from the public care to comment?
Hello, my name is Scott Glaze, business rep for Local 58 Electricians of Michigan. I got a question. Can we discuss the, does this take care of the whole site, or is this just for the guardhouse? This topic
Just
today?
for the guardhouse,
Okay,
change it with
'cause
the
I-
guardhouse.
All right, because then I won't bring up the other issue that I had with the site, so, all right. thank you.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, comments? What is your desire?
Well, Mr. Chair, barring any other. Director Akers, you okay?
Yes.
All right. Unless someone else wants to make a motion, I'd be happy to do it. Mr. Chairman, in the matter of item 3, case 25015, Project Venture amended site plan approval, I move to grant the applicant HIP 6 Enterprises LLC on behalf of the owner Wayne County Airport Authority, the amended site plan approval to revise the proposed guardhouse at the site located at 6845 Denton Road, based on, again, the analysis and subject to the conditions detailed in the McKenna letter of March 26, 2026. I don't believe there are any other letters, are there?
Support.
We have a motion and support by Commissioner Creel. Any discussion on the motion? Then with that, roll call vote, please.
Bernie Grant,
Yes.
Sherry Budd,
Yes.
Peter Creel,
Yes.
Yes.
Brian Cullen.
Motion carries. So they have an amended site plan. Okay, moving ahead, item number 4, temporary land use fireworks stand zoning ordinance text amendment. Article 2, definitions, section 2.02, to add a new definition for fireworks stand and section 7.120, temporary land use. To amend the language of the approval or of approval for prior consecutively approved fireworks stands or tents. Presentation by the township staff. Ms. Williams.
Thank you. Through the chair, we have updated the ordinance that was brought in front of you on March 11th with the wonderful comments that you guys had. This ordinance text amendment is only for, as you have stated, it is for, I apologize, stands or tents that have continued the use every season since such approval, so as long as no changes to location, storage containers, access, circulation, emergency response paths, lighting, and signage are proposed. Fireworks stands for which the township has received valid code enforcement related complaints shall be required to appear before the Planning Commission for approval. We have updated the definition for fireworks stands within the ordinance. And I can answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, discussion.
I think it meets the objective of what we wanted it to say, so that they aren't bouncing back to us all the time, so I think it'll work.
And I think it serves to streamline the process for people that come back year after year and makes it more fair for our business people, even the ones that are running temporary land use approval businesses. I'm in favor, and I like the wording. I think it works. Agreed.
Anybody else? Comments? I agree. I think it helps those that are doing the stands, as long as they keep doing what they have done in the past without any complaints or problems.
I'll miss seeing some of the regular applicants every year. It's how I know summer is coming,
Yes.
but I think it's good for everyone.
Yes, I agree.
Chair?
Yes.
Just clarification on the amendment. I like how it states continuing use season since approval, or since such approval. Say, it defines the fireworks stand that have previously received temporary land use approval from the Planning Commission and then continue the use every season, so long as no changes or anything are proposed, period. But it doesn't say what we're allowing them to do. So do we have to, it's a question more than an answer. Do we have to say, shall not be required to come before the Planning Commission for a temporary land use? Do we have to put that additional sentence in there? Because right now it's just defining the criteria, but doesn't say what we're granting them, if I'm reading that correctly. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but maybe our planner can help with that language?
No,
Or it's,
I understand what you're saying, and it's.
and maybe it's just because it's out of context, because I don't see the rest of the amendment,
Yeah, I think.
or the rest
I
of
think
the
that's
ordinance.
right.
Yeah, now that you mention it.
Yeah, not to mention that they don't have to do it.
It just basically, it defines what, I mean, I know the intent, because we've talked about it a couple times, right? But I think if we're gonna put it into an amendment or into the ordinance, it needs to state what we're granting as an exception. We don't state that.
If I could propose, unless staff has something to respond to that, I have a proposal that would, I think you're missing a sentence.
And
Sentence they'll put at the end, yeah.
apologize. So 7.120A. So the way so we have a section for temporary land uses is split into multiple categories. So 7.12A lists the following land uses or activity which are temporary in nature and may be permitted by the township planning director or building official subject to the approval requirements. So section B is the ones that are required to be forwarded to the planning commission. So what this does is it takes this language under 13 and it puts it under a section where
it
the
can be
planning director has
administratively
the
approved.
authority to administratively approve it.
Thank you for the clarification. That's the answer.
Okay.
It was just out of context, and I didn't.
Last time we discussed it, we had the context to see where it was
I think we
gonna
did,
go.
and that's
Yeah.
why I didn't trigger last time, so I appreciate it, staff. Thank you, Director Akers. So, yeah, I'm great with it then.
We have public comment. Feel like making a motion.
Public comment. Any further discussion, commissioners?
No.
Public comment? Seeing none?
Public's still here.
Yeah. Planning Commissioner,
Through the chair.
Commissioner Creel.
Considering item number 4, I move to recommend to the Township Board to approve temporary land use fireworks stand zoning ordinance text amendment titled Article 2 Definitions, Section 2.02 to add new definition of fireworks stand, and Section 7.120 temporary land uses to amend the language of approval for prior consecutive approved fireworks stands and tents, based on the verbiage presented to the commission this evening.
Support. We have a motion by Commissioner Creel, supported by Commissioner Jar. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Jackson Paul. Peter Creel. Bernie Grant.
Yes.
Sherry Budd.
Yes.
Jeff Jar.
Yes.
Brian Cullen.
Yes. Motion carries. Send that on to the Township Board.
And I got that part right.
Thank you.
And moving ahead to our last item under new business this evening, Hotel Development Ordinance Discussion Number 1. I-94 Group and GAV and Associates to discuss height limitation hardship created by the current ordinance limitations. Presentation from the applicant.
Evening, everybody. I'm Remy Hanna. I'm here on behalf of the applicant and ownership, representing ownership, and I have Gassan and Dave here with GAV and Associates, my architect on the project. So we're here because we are proposing to develop 2 hotels next to our existing hotels that we currently own and manage since 2000 on the North I-94 Service Drive. What we are trying to develop is 2 modern hotels that are going to be 4 stories, and we're here to discuss getting some help from the township, the board. I'm not sure about the verbiage, but get some help to build these modern developments so that we're able to get the height that we need, and also about the setback, rooftop setback. I think it's called a terrace. That's an issue that we have that we're looking to get some relief. I'm not sure if we want to go through the issues that we had with the current ordinance, but what we're looking for today is we're looking to develop hotels that are going to be approximately 55 feet without the setback, the rooftop setback terrace, and we have a lot of issues with the setback terrace and the new ordinance that was passed late last year. It creates a lot of issues for us as far as construction, structural, brand, with brand standard, conflicts with our brands. We're building 2 nationally recognized hotels, Staybridge Suites and a Home 2. I don't know what else. You guys want to step in?
Good evening. My name is Ghassan Abdinour. I'm the architect on the project. We're from GAV and Associates, and thank you for having us here tonight. We're here to get your help, to work with you, and to come up with a nice project for the township and for the group, too, that everybody makes them kind of comfortable. The first question is the height requirement. The height requirement in the township is 40 feet for 4 stories. And we worked a lot with the planning department, and we met some boards from your board, and we discussed it, and we went through some project that we did already in different cities. And some of these projects that we did, I just want to tell you some of the location. We just did a Staybridge Suite in Woodhaven, Michigan, and we did a Comfort Inn Suite in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and the Home Suite in Taylor. we just finished these 3 projects. And in these 3 projects, we had to get variance for the height. Originally, they had the opinion that 40 feet works, but because of the structure, most of these hotels are built from wood frame structure. Wood frame structure, and I'm gonna start from the beginning of the first floor. Usually, most of these hotels, they require from first floor to the second floor 14 feet height. And that include the 2 feet structure plus the 12 feet height ceiling in a hotel when you first come into it. And the 3-story on the top, they usually around 9 feet ceiling plus 2 feet structure. It's around minimum 11 feet 4 inches with the finished floors. And by adding the parapet on the roof, like for example, Staybridge requires 4 feet because they like to hide all the element on the roof side. And some other hotels, minimum, we have to go 2 feet above in the parapet, plus all the details that they do for the signage and stuff, you need it 4 feet to 5 feet. So most of these hotels that we had to kind of build, they're between 52 to 55 feet height, if you add all the floors. The only kind of hotel that we can meet, even very barely, the requirement of 40 feet, if we use like concrete structure. Concrete structure, usually, the way they do it, we have the floor, we have the height, and we have maybe 8 inch to a foot height concrete structure, including blocks and steel. And that's why you see a lot of that structure done in Florida, Miami, in areas where they have the hurricane requirements. But this is a very first, it doesn't go much in Michigan. Most of our structure here is wood frame, and we like the buildings to look a little bit more traditional with a nicer fascia on the top and give it a nice look and nice appeal. So we're here to kind of ask you and discuss with you the option of the variance of the 40 feet for 4-story, because we've been having a hard time coming up with a building that can meet that requirement. And maybe we can discuss if you have any questions about that item, but most of the hotels done in Michigan, they're all wood structure. And even if we do steel, it's still, we need more requirement because the steel also requires more steel joist that also give you more depth. So we're here kind of, in a way, just to make it easy for you. We're begging for your help, and we're trying to make it easy for everybody to help us be able to accomplish this project and make it happy for everybody. I'll take some questions if you have for that first item. I know it's a very big, important item that might destroy the project and we won't be able to go ahead and do it.
Commissioners.
Go ahead.
Through the chair.
Can I just disclose quickly that I did meet with the applicant last week, week before, 2 weeks ago, with staff. They wanted to discuss a problem that they observed with our most recent hotel ordinance. So they presented this information to me and with Director Akers there. And in the course of the discussion, I felt it had at least enough merit to bring up with the rest of the commission. If I could summarize briefly, what I thought I got out of the meeting was that our standard building height is 40 feet, which is generally too low to build 3 stories. You can only build a 3-story building and it's a height of 40 feet, but our most recent amendment to the ordinance has an allowance for building close to 50 feet with a 4th floor, but it has the constraint that the 4th floor has to be terraced back. And the architect's concern and I don't want to put words in their mouth, my take from what we discussed was that the terraced back allotment, you can do it, you can go up to 50 if it's terraced back, is not something that they feel is a reasonable way to build a modern hotel that they don't build houses. They don't build hotels like that. So while we updated the ordinance, they feel that we maybe missed something in it. I'll also add that the reason that I wanted to hear what they had to say is that the applicant, I believe, would, again, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think it's in what they put in their report. They have been getting variances in communities that have this height restriction, successfully getting variances in the community. And rather than just go through our zoning board of appeals with their arguments that have apparently worked before, they wanted to have a chance to bring that to the commission to discuss why the ordinance doesn't work for them and why it leads them to search for the variance. I thought that had merit doing it ahead of time rather than having the BZA bounce it back to us with a message saying, hey, your ordinance is no good. We had to grant a variance multiple times. You know, it seemed like it had merit on the face of it. That is why I met with the applicant.
And that's why here exactly with you to help us in that process.
Okay?
Yeah, through the chair, I do have questions, and actually, I agree. I think the model here is, and the step back problem is that you want to maximize, obviously, rooms, right, for guests, and that would be true because you're going to lose those spaces. Even though if you're really forced it, you could do it, but I can understand the business model. As far as the construction, I think that you could still do concrete plank, but still, even with concrete plank, you're more than because usually it's like 8 to 10 inches, depending on the span, which you could use guest rooms for bearing, right? But the thing is, you still can't achieve what you're looking for, given that the first floor, which is typically your lobby space, you want it to be taller than 9 feet. Otherwise, it just has a very weird aesthetic to it,
Absolutely.
given the size and magnitude of the space. So, and knowing that you're right, I mean, I know this type of construction is pretty typical for this kind of building, wood construction. I would agree that it does limit them in our community, and I think it's worth exploring I mean, 30 feet, I'm not sure what that's relevant to, especially given the fact that even on the property at Belleville and Tyler, we're looking at something that might limit that too, given that it is going to have that little bit of a small town village feel to it. Maybe going to a 4-story might be an attractive thing to do there so that you can have some balance in the design of that space. So I think that obviously at this point, it probably means going for a variance, but if we're recommending maybe a change to, the zoning, alongside that, I think it's probably a good idea to take a look at it so that we can welcome maybe a little bit taller development that I don't think would be detrimental to the community.
Mr. Chair, if I could weigh in too, I think that I don't believe the applicant's really asking for taller either. Maybe within maybe he doesn't like 50, maybe he wants 55, but there's already an ordinance that lets the building be 50 feet high, but it's got that it's got that step back
I
thing.
understand
So it's
that
not
part.
strictly a
Right,
height thing,
right,
which I
no,
also
right.
thought
It's
had.
not really restrictive of height, it's more or
Yeah.
less.
It's a form question, right?
Actually, it's a business model is really what that is. Because you're trying to maximize your construction by going straight up without stepping back and losing maybe four guest rooms or more, whatever that repetitiveness looks like.
So, the question came when we met, like 3-story building. Most of these hotels, they don't go to 3-story anymore.
Right.
And also we tried it, actually, David in my office, we did kind of try to see 3-story just to see. So it ended up taking 44 parking from the property.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go for variance for parking, and the landscaping is less, and the property requirement is bigger. So lately, we're trying to kind of compact the buildings, have more parking, have more landscaping, and have more walkable area. And that's kind of, we're working with the cities, and they understand that item. And every city we work with, walkability is a big deal. Having less asphalt and more parking, and it becomes a big issue. And that's why, we just, all together, we're trying to kind of come up with a nice project. And I know, like the planks, like you said, you're right, but it's like concrete structure. They're very tight, And the first floor, like you said, for like curb appeal, if you have the first floor low, the building does not look right. So proportion does not work, and also the fascia on the first level makes it kind of weird. So that's why we're here to try to come up with a nice building. And really, that's what our question is.
My concern is, how does this affect on our B-Rod?
It depends on how the ordinance amendment is structured. I mean, we certainly can do some research and provide some options to the planning commission. I know, we have certain uses that over the years, we had certain uses that were multifamily residential that have been incorporated in the B-Rod. The multifamily residential district actually has some higher height standards for some of those uses as well. So, while if we do adopt a higher standard, it wouldn't just be attributed to hotels, it would also be attributed to some of those other residential uses, which we've started to allow in the district too.
Well, even commercial uses, right? That if we had a commercial, I'm looking at that property 181, excuse me, and if we build that up and somebody wants to go to 50 feet, then we have to follow what we've allowed these gentlemen, because that's what our ordinance is.
Yes.
But if that's an apartment type, we're still stuck with it being flat up. We can't require that terrace back to create a balcony or to do something of that nature, can we? That's what we're looking at. I think that was the purpose of allowing the heights to go up, was to step back so that we didn't have that flat frontage for an extended distance.
And I understand that when part of the rationale with the step back terrace, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding was part of the rationale with the step back terrace was to kind of break the building up. So you didn't just have flat walls, canyoning into a road, but there are other architectural treatments that can be done to break up a flat facade. And certainly we can explore
I would agree
incorporating
if we're
some of
gonna look
those.
at changing to allow for this, that we can maybe apply maybe we're allowed to apply some additional requirements on it so that the architecture.
And gentlemen, just to clarify, I don't think we need to update our ordinance for one hotel owner in this community.
No,
That's
no.
not on the table.
They can just go for a
right?
variance, but you made a statement that,
Yeah.
What
impressed me about the applicant's argument was that it appears to be a trend in hotels. If you look around other freeway district hotels, not resort properties, not, big, not downtown hotels, but our kind of hotel that's alongside I-94 between two large metropolitan areas, the trend is for these 3-on-1, 4-story tall, it looks like every other home too, but you can't build a home to, or whatever it is. And it seems to me that they're highlighting, what they're bringing to us is a trend in the industry that we might want to be aware of. It might affect them.
That's why we could simply do it as a variance versus being,
Do we know how tall the current ones are there?
I know that the Town Place Suites it's 45 feet to the midway point between the eve and the ridge. I think it's 50 feet to the edge of the ridge.
Okay.
But there was at the time.
I know the
we-
ordinance has changed since then, but.
Yeah, we did that as a conditional rezoning, and as part of the conditional rezoning agreement, we increased the height to allow for that 4th story. There has since been case law where you can't do that as part of a conditional rezoning agreement anymore. But that was the height of that. I believe all the other hotels are 3-story, or are they 4-story hotels?
Our original 2 developments, the Holiday Inn Express and the Hampton Inn, are 3-story buildings. That was the trend in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s. It's been the trend since about 2009, 2010, coming out of the recession, that hotels went to 4 stories. It's more green, it's more efficient, the buildings operate much better. And then the Town Place, so the Town Place is 4 stories, like Ron had mentioned. We had an agreement with the township to get that extra feet to get that fourth floor. We did also have to shrink everything down, and we had like structural issues and stuff we worked through.
So is the idea of going to 4 stories because of the trend to be, and you mentioned more green, is to reduce footprint to get the same amount of rooms vertically?
So this is what the brand's implemented to be more green, yes. So
It's not solely meant to be, hey, I just need to increase the amount of guest rooms on the site.
no,
I don't recall right offhand, what is the step back requirement going apart? I don't,
I think it's 1 for 1, isn't it?
back 1 foot up.
If it's 1 for 1, the setback requirement for the 4th story, it's a 10-foot step back. And then the ordinance also requires that there be a user amenity on that flat, which I understand was a insurance issue.
Weird request up
yeah,
front.
if, I don't know if everybody had a chance to review, there was actually quite a bit of issues that we have with it. We have one of them's insurance, we have another one for fire. We have to add a dry system, which we don't have in our hotels. We have an insurance issue, a major one. We've talked to our carriers, you know, being in the state of Michigan, adding an outside amenity brings insurance issues. Our brands, they don't allow it. So if you go like a Staybridge or a Home2, don't allow those as well. And then upkeep over the years, having plants or you might have high winds. If everybody's experienced winter and high winds and tornadoes, having planters and tables and chairs sitting up there, which is what the township gave me in pictures, saying here's some examples. So I took those examples that look like skylines in Chicago and New York, which we don't have in Van Buren Township. Those are gonna bring financial issues to us, you know, like we talked about, you know, insurance or a chair flying off the top of our roof and hitting one of our guest vehicles or flying on I-94 freeway. So we, you know, that's some of the issues that we have.
So for your model of hotel, where are your amenities located?
Everything is on the first floor. We are what we call a limited service.
That's why I was, you know, that, you know, if you, well, essentially you said it has to be 10 feet to go up. I mean, that's a pretty narrow space to actually provide any amenity. Plus, I would say, given Michigan, it doesn't make a ton of sense. Plus, on the front of the building, and all the amenities are on the first floor for this model, it doesn't make sense either.
Yes, and in part of my document that we turned in, you know, it's not gonna be visible over half the year. You're gonna have snow, ice, and many other things.
10-foot setback's not that far, 2, 4, 6, 8, right there. It's not that far for, you know, when you gain that vertical distance, that it just doesn't seem to be that much of a, you don't gain that much. But anyway, I think that, I don't think, I mean, they can always get a variance for what they need to do. So, I mean, if this is going to be, if it's a trend, I mean, in our area, I think that we kind of, maybe they can go through as a variance, and then if it seems like it's trending, I don't know if I would change.
Yeah, my feeling on it, Commissioner, is that, you know, we can't remove the roof step back requirement. We can't by fiat do that. That's
yeah.
not what we do.
I wouldn't
That's
do
a
it.
township. It would maybe be a recommendation after an awful lot of review of the ordinances, a recommendation to the Township Board of Trustees with a pretty good explanation as to how come we changed it one way and now we're changing it to something else. You know, we would want to see the, you know, good supporting information about. You said, yeah, it didn't really make a lot of sense. I thought that when we changed the ordinance the first time, I was convinced it made sense to me, given the information that I had, but they've presented new
Yeah, I'm sitting
information.
here thinking, what type of building type would actually take advantage of that on, say, Belleville Road? And
It's a good point that the applicant brings up.
I can't think of any that would. I mean, hotel makes a lot of sense to me, but would you do an office building 4 stories high? Probably not likely around here.
Probably not.
You know, what else is there?
My recollection of when we made that was more of business, like office buildings.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was the majority of the discussion. I don't think we even considered hotels.
No.
No.
Well, I think Vidya did mention it, but what we were looking at was also the other buildings that if somebody wanted to come in, such as we've talked about on 180, on the parcel across the street, that when that's built up, you have commercial on the main floor and then possibly apartment living up above, and that could go up 3 or 4 stories. And when you start to get up there, looking down Belleville Road for 3/4 of a mile or half a mile of all flat front,
And the ordinance change that we made wasn't specifically for hotels. It was for just a height
Oh, yeah.
modification, right?
Agreed.
And so
Agreed.
you're right, for those kind of buildings, maybe it does, but for specifically their hotel use, it may not work. Yeah.
Like usually, if I can say something, like usually I'm designing different projects. When we do like these residential and slash mixed-use commercial jobs, well, if you do like an apartment on the fourth floor, for example, because they do have balconies, usually we use that 10 feet setback in a balcony situation. But most of these hotels, they're not let us put in at any balconies, so that's why we're having issues with that. So 100% with you. I am designing building with 10 feet setback, but it's a platform, it's a balcony that people actually use. But in a hotel situation, it's very hard to be able to use it.
I understand. Did you have some, you want to go forth? No, I understand. My concern is that if we change the ordinance, where are we stuck with on an apartment, commercial mixed-use situation? We wouldn't be able to require that setback. I could see them, like you have suggested, more going for the variance.
You don't need to change it, just get a variance. I mean.
Yeah, because
I
we're
don't think
looking
we
at,
need to change it.
what, 2 possible buildings at this point?
We have 2 hotels, yes. We like to build them, we like the community, we like the area, and we like to be with here. That's why we kind of met with the planning department, with the group.
I'm
And-
sorry I was out of town, otherwise I'd have been there
But,
as well.
but we're here to discuss it. I mean, we want your opinion on it. You need us to help us a little bit. And really, we're looking forward to start building that building. So.
And now through the chair, I did meet with Jeff and the rest of the staff with you folks.
And thank you for your
and-
help at that day.
And I do believe it was worth looking into and trying to help you get this situation. And
Thank you very
the
much.
pictures that you put of their building with the overhang down over the front door, I thought it was still a very attractive building. And I think it would really add to that area.
It has a lot of different materials. So actually, the 4th floor is designed totally different. So it doesn't look like a heavy building. It's kind of has a recess, has a up and down. So it looks more comfortable.
And it was nice that you did show us the other townships and the cities where you've got your variance, because
Absolutely.
they were very eager to make sure that that happened.
Absolutely. Actually, it's a funny situation. We do have a hotel in Warren, story, and they didn't give them a flag till we make it 4-story. So what we did, we created a higher parapet, and the level became 4-story for them to renew them for 10 years. So really, the brands are looking for that 4-story buildings. I'm glad, I hope they don't go to 5.
They're going to be in trouble.
Because now they're going to start using steel structure and totally, because wood frame won't be able to be done. So hopefully they stay at 4 and we keep working that project. So.
To say, we're building one now that's 5, but that's a residential.
But becomes very expensive. I mean, it's expensive a little bit more construction-wise.
So, I would think that, if you guys think it's appropriate to do so, I think we might consider asking our planning consultant to consider the roof back step requirement as it applies to hotels. And the reason I think we should ask that is because having read the packet, I think that the applicant has clearly, they've made a successful case in other communities that the requirement of a user amenity on top of a hotel that doesn't let people go outside on the balcony is perhaps a hardship and/or a practical difficulty from a zoning board standpoint. It may be that our ordinance doesn't need change. Maybe our planning consultant will look at it and go, this is fine, this hotel thing is a one-off and it should be solved by a variance. But I predict that if the applicant goes for a variance, we'll hear back from the BZA, you guys need to look at this ordinance. And because that's what our, that's what our BZA rightly does for us, right?
Even if it's a business use, they're not going to use the roof space for anything.
Yeah, and that's why it may have merit to have our consultant look at it. And that's if we had a consultant maybe have a discussion number 2 after we've had our consultant consider the matter and consider the ramifications more fully, because we have to consider, an ordinance change affects everybody, not just the person bringing us the question, not just every hotel owner, but the ordinance applies to all of those buildings and all of the height restriction through the entire township. It's not something that we should just, say, oh yeah, we should change that. No, we should make sure we're doing the right thing, and I think that requires a professional planner's touch.
Yeah, I think to me, that step back is more because of scale than it is anything else.
And not that our ordinance change was bad. Our previous ordinance change, I think, was actually not bad at all, given the evidence that we had. But this is a situation that maybe we didn't consider.
I mean, if it's scale and it's a transition from the Service Drive to Belleville Main Street, then I think you can write language in there that talks about transition and scale.
And I think when we did this ordinance, it wasn't that we were ignoring it. I don't believe that even our consultant understood that these hotel companies are now requiring a 4-story construction versus,
Or have the restrictions on the amenity use on
Yeah.
the top floor, which in an apartment building would be totally reasonable. If I was staying in an apartment building in a city, and yeah, I would expect there to be a little exercise room up there that I could go sit on a lawn
Residential
chair.
balconies would not be 10 feet deep anyway.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, it'll end up being a Juliet, right?
So,
I mean,
No, I think he went into it. Our building is not just a flat building. There's bump outs and first floors looks different. So you're not getting this, with a modern hotel like we're talking about with higher, you're also getting the modern look on the outside.
we make this change, it's going to apply, if we were to make a change in the ordinance, it would apply to any building that would be constructed.
which was
Right.
modified
Unless-
specifically, because you don't have to change the whole thing just for a hotel. You could
I
add
think
the
the
language.
professional planner should be giving it a look-see.
That's why we hire them, right?
That's why Lauren's here.
So how soon are you looking to get, do drawings, get construction started? Do you have a schedule?
To be quite honest, this project has been on the table for a while, so.
So you've been holding.
We obviously have to work with whoever we need to work with, and we're happy to do that, and we need your help, so we need the timeline from you guys. We're ready to
Seems
move
like
forward.
a variance is the quickest way to do it.
I was going to say, wouldn't it be best to send them to the BZA?
Well, we can't sit here and tell him to go get a variance. That's something that the applicant has
I
to
know
do
that, but
on
I'm
their
just saying
own
it's
if they choose to do it,
If I'm doing it, it's the
right?
quickest way I can think of right now, based
Yeah.
on whatever, I think, I know.
But I think it's the applicant's responsibility to figure out the path they want to pursue. But I would be very much in favor of requesting staff to engage our planning consultant to study the issue more so that we could have another discussion on it. I hope that, and thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. Understand that
Yes.
ordinance changes take a long time. I think that, if I remember correctly, sorry, Mr. Chair,
No, go.
but I believe you're also a former or current planning commission member in your community, sir?
I was 10 years in West Bloomfield as, this year I just finished. So after 10 years in the planning, I know exactly what you go through. And it's not an easy job. I mean, whatever you say, people take it in a good way or a bad way. But in our situation, we're here, we like to be in the township, we like to do the project, and kind of we have limitation what can we change in this project. And that's why we're here asking you about it before we come up and ask for variances and stuff like that.
Yeah? Public comment? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, we're going to take your information, we're going to push it forward, but at this point, we're not going, it would take us probably 6 to 8 months to get a change in the ordinance. By the time we review it, promote it, set it public hearing,
Recommend it?
and recommend it.
But for like, to go a little bit faster in our department, can we start at least doing so we can go for site plan approval? What's the limitation for us? So because I know in a hurry, the banking is waiting for us because they put the loan, they have to start construction. So there's kind of limitation as I understand.
Well, so with finance, a lot of things, like I said, we're here where we are today, and obviously we need your help, so we don't want to do anything moving forward from now unless we have some sort of guidance on what's our, and I know we can't answer that today, but what's our best way forward, whether, you know, yeah, go ahead, Ron.
So I can, if you call me tomorrow, we'll schedule a meeting, we have a conversation about the different options for what moving forward looks like and what are some different things.
Okay.
I think you've gotten some feedback from the board on a couple different potential pathways, so we'll talk about it and I'll let you guys evaluate that and make a decision.
Okay. Was there any other questions or anything you needed from us?
No, we would love to have you break construction or break ground tomorrow, but we understand. And we would like to be able to work with you and want to work with you.
Thanks for bringing the, if I can, thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Yes, very much. Yes, no, thank you for bringing it to us. That makes us think. Yeah,
Chairman, does-
you as well.
Does staff require any kind of direction, or do you guys, did you get the gist of that? You don't need a form.
Yes, so after that discussion, our township planner, Sayer, and I are gonna get together and you know, we'll, I believe there's enough direction so we can work out a memo and do some research on the topic.
Thank you, Director Akers.
Yes, thank you. Moving ahead, general discussion and updates.
I have two. Do you want?
Sure, go for it.
Thank you. I have two updates I wanted to let everybody know, just in case you weren't aware. There is a grand opening block party April 9th to the 12th for Camping World. And then on April 18th, there is a grand opening for Tractor Supply.
Good.
They were pouring their parking lot today.
A new tractor seat.
The only other update I have is just for the next meeting. So the next meeting will be April 22nd. On the agenda for the next meeting is the substation preliminary site plan approval for the Project Cannoli Data Center project. So I will try to get that packet out as early as possible to everybody. Just please, if I assume everybody's planning on be there, so please make sure we're all there.
Okay, thank you. Did I see something this afternoon, I pulled in to take a look at Westlake to take a look at that property. Across the street, it looked like there's some machines on the grounds across the street. Is that true?
That was the other one I forgot to mention. Chick-fil-A has started on their project, and they have pre-con on Thursday, but they were able to mobilize onto the site and do a little bit of earthwork prior to that. But they will have their full pre-construction meeting tomorrow, and then they will have their permits and be ready to fully dig and build.
What is their schedule?
And they say it is roughly 20 weeks. Why they pushed so quickly to get that pre-con meeting, because even a week behind would completely throw their schedule off. So roughly 20
That was
weeks.
Fast food.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Anything else? Anybody got anything to mention? And looking at that thing stuck on the back wall back there, I would entertain.
You, officer.
Not you, officer. That thing above you.
The clock.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion and support to adjourn. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Good. Meeting adjourned.
You didn't even let anybody.